You're ready to start the tapping in with me tonight. I'm Lisa and I will be going through the webinar tonight. I hope you've all had a good day and welcome to everyone that is new. Tonight we will be talking about how to attract and plan to help the untapped market become a part of your business. Let's now begin with an acknowledgement of country. 30 Foot Drop acknowledges the traditional owners of country and owners throughout Australia and recognises their continuing connection to land, waters and the community. We pay our respects to the Indigenous people, their cultures and beliefs, to the elders both past and present. Let's now go over 30 Foot Drop's funding. 30 Foot Drop would like to acknowledge the Department of Communities Disability Services for funding this event. Without their help, so many projects such as Two Wise Monkeys wouldn't see the light of day, and we'd be much more poorer for it as a community. So we thank them very much for the funding. This workshop is part of the realities and advantages of an Access and Inclusion Grant awarded to 30 Foot Drop as part of an Information, Linkages and Capacity Building Grant for 2018 and 2019. We'll now just go over some housekeeping on how we run our webinars. Unfortunately, we do not have all the resources to monitor all of our live streaming platforms. So if you did have a question, you can head into the link which is just below this video, www.30footdrop.com.au, and you can send me a message. Go into the live box and send a message. But if you are watching through Facebook or YouTube, you won't be able to send a direct message. So please just head over to that link and that's where you can send one. And also make sure 30 Foot Drop, if you talk about us or you share our information, tag us in all your posts, because the more information we can get out there, the better we can make changes and come together as a community. We'll also be recording the session, so if you missed anything or wanted to go back over anything, it's all recorded. And everything that I do reference in the webinars is all available on our website through our resources library. So you can jump on the link below and then go into the resource library and look at the stats and research behind all of our stuff, all of the stuff that we talk about. What's next? At the end of the webinar, we do have a short survey that we would be really grateful if you could fill out. So that's once again following the link below, and it's a very quick survey. Press tapping in part 6 and fill out the questions. There's only a few questions to answer there, and the more feedback we can get, the better. Now, let me introduce myself. I am Lisa and I am one of the Wise Monkeys. I am Hear No Evil. So just by looking at me, I hope that after today you'll hear no evil about impairment. So coming up 38 years ago, I was born at 30 weeks, so 10 weeks early. Now back in those days, you know, things were different to what they are now, and being born preem can have other complications. And when I was 8 years old, I was diagnosed with dyslexia. And a lot of preem babies can quite often have learning disabilities. So yeah, I was one of them. It wasn't in my family. Dyslexia wasn't in either sides of my family. So my family found it a bit strange that I had it. So I was diagnosed at 8, and teachers used to hit me on the head, yell at me in front of my classmates and read out my low marks in front of everyone. And I was just totally embarrassed, ashamed, and just I hated myself really, because I didn't understand why am I dumb? Why don't I understand? But anyway, I was determined to prove all those teachers wrong. And I ended up finding my passion was in doing artwork and photography. And you know, most people with dyslexia or a learning disability, they will have something that they are good at. It's just a matter of finding it. So I got a arts diploma. I got a picture framing diploma where I can work with museum grade artwork. I've travelled all around the world, worked in the UK, worked over on the east coast of Australia, originally from New Zealand, worked all in New Zealand with it, become gallery managers, exhibition managers, framing managers, all sorts of things I've done with my creative brain. So don't let those people bring you down. There is something that you will be good at, and it's just a matter of finding it. I was 13 when I found it, so it took me a while to find it, and school was hard. I had to do extra help in the mornings with tutors and stuff like that, which I hated. And you may have a child or know a child that also needs help, and they probably hate it as well. But, you've got to piece together the things that are not really connecting very well, and with constant practice and study, you'll get there. I ended up passing school and doing pretty well for having dyslexia, I would think. But yeah, don't let anyone stop you or get in the way, and definitely don't let people bring you down or bully you about it, because that is not on. And there'll be something you're better at than them. Okay, so the other monkey is Ben, and he is see no evil. Now, Ben had an accident when he was 22, and because he was an able-body before the accident, he realised that once he did have a disability, that, hey, people don't actually really know how to approach disability, how to make things better, and he was shocked at how little people know about it. So that is why we are doing the 2 Wise Monkeys workshops. And through him, we hope you see no evil about impairment. Now, he's doing all sorts of things with his projects, 30-foot drop and 2 Wise Monkeys, and I'm sure you'll see him again very soon. But when you talk about the monkeys, isn't there supposed to be 3 wise monkeys? You guys can take a guess on who the 3rd monkey might be. You guys. The aim of today's workshop is to turn you into that wise monkey. You will begin on a journey of realising, impairment or not, we are all human and deserve to be acknowledged and treated in the same way as anyone else. There is no need for someone with an impairment or disability to be bullied. We're all the same. We all were made the same. We all come out the same. Apart from these little impairments or disabilities, which shouldn't get in the way of having what we need to have. Okay, let's now go over the outline and method of tonight's workshop. So how are we going to get you started on the path of a wise monkey? Well, there is a lot to learn about people with impairment and their potential impacts on your business. Today's session is all about how businesses can meet the specific needs of this market in order to tap into their business and create change and inclusive ideas. We'll finish off to focus on tourism and events by having a look at the future. The southwest of Australia has the potential to grow this market, and we will have a look at how this can be accomplished. To finish off the session, there will be an open forum where you can ask any questions, but please feel free if you have any questions just to ask any along the way. So how are we going to cover this, and what will our teaching method be? The answer is fun, open and honest discussion. Like I said before, if we can't be open and honest about disability and impairment, we're not going to be able to move forward. Don't hold on to those thoughts. Get them out there. Get talking about them. Let us know. Let's all just get talking and get the ball rolling to get these changes going. And that is exactly what these workshops are about. So, now, I forgot to mention before, if you really did want to become that wise monkey, I do have these gorgeous t-shirts behind me. You can become the Speak No Evil. Now, those t-shirts are available on our website on the shop, and they are in black and white from size 5 child's age to XL adult, 5XL adult size. So grab one of those if you like them. They're really popular. Okay. Now, you'll notice so far that there is very little written content on the slides. And that is because we're here to interact with each other and chat through the chat box, or, for example, in our live webinar, in our live workshops. It's to make it easier so that discussions can be had and we can be open and honest. But as well, it also makes it easier for some people that may be watching with a disability or impairment or a learning disorder. It's easy to follow. There's not too much complex information. It's nice and bold. The wording's not too complicated. And that's just how we want it. And if you do have a hearing impairment, if you're watching on Facebook, or you did want the subtitles, head over to Facebook, 30-foot drop page, and turn down the sound, and through that you will be able to get subtitles, which is really great of Facebook to have done that. They've only just done it in the last couple of weeks as far as I know. Okay, now terminology and review. Let's go over a few differences between these words, because a lot of people get these four words mixed up, and they are the differences between disability and impairment, and the differences between access and inclusion. So let's first talk about impairment. Impairment is an injury, illness, or congenital condition that causes or is likely to cause a loss of difference in psychological and physiological function. In short, your impairment is your medical diagnosis. So my medical diagnosis is mild dyslexia. A disability, on the other hand, is the loss or limitation of opportunities to take part in society on an equal level with others due to social and environmental barriers. It is, as the word implies, something that makes you unable to access or participate in something. For example, someone with a mobility issue is not going to be able to access a business if there are stairs there. If someone's using a wheelchair, they're not going to be able to access that place because they're in a wheelchair, so they are unable, disabled, unable. So an example for someone like me or someone with a learning disability, too much wording, stylized script can make it hard for people with dyslexia or other learning disabilities to understand, which makes it hard for them to get the right information that they need to use your business or service. This is especially important information to know because some people's disabilities or impairments are hidden, and you're potentially losing that business if you did not really realise that, or how, there's a big population of us that many people have hidden disabilities. So hopefully that first lot of terminologies make sense to everyone. Next we are going to go over access and inclusion. Access refers to the removal or reduction of barriers, physical and attitudinal, to participate in activities and functions of a community. At its core, access focuses a lot on the physical world around us and is easily assessed with a checklist. So you go around your business and you check that it is accessible. If you're that business that had the stairs, then clearly you're not going to be accessible and there may need to be some changes made. So if you head over to our website, on the resource part, we do have an accessibility checklist. If you wanted to go around your business and check, are your door handles within a reach for someone in a wheelchair, someone with a short stature? Are they easy to open? Are your door frames wide enough for someone in a wheelchair or a mobility scooter? Is it safe? All sorts of things that you can go around your business and check to make sure it is accessible for people with disability and impairment. So next is inclusion. Inclusion is more of a psychological state of being and is a process hereby every person, irrespective of their age, disability, gender, religion, sexual preference, or nationality who wishes to, can participate fully in all aspects of an activity or service in the same way as every other member in the community. So this helps them to feel included. If you're not going to make every single human being, no matter how they look or how they come across or their nationality or their religion, if you're not going to make them feel welcome into your business, then you're not being inclusive. So everyone deserves to be included and welcomed into your business. Now, hopefully that all makes sense to everyone. If you do have any questions, please follow the link below the video and ask anything you like. Okay, let's head into tonight's webinar, should I say. Specific needs of the market. In session 5, we discussed the similarities between travellers with an impairment and the rest of the population, showing that there is much of an overlap. Despite the similarities to the general population, there are some important differences and specific needs we need to talk about. Travellers with impairment have a strong tendency to manage the stress and uncertainties of travel by returning to destinations that they know well. Consequently, they appear to have a higher rate of repetitive visitation to businesses that support their needs, meaning that they are really loyal customers. Those are the customers that we want. The Accessible Tourism in Victoria and Queensland report found that there are 3 main subjects which are areas specific to their needs which can be used to attract this market. They are information, planning and service. Now we're going to go over these. Information. Travellers with an impairment need more support in planning their experiences if they are to travel as much as they wish to. Also, for it to be an enjoyable experience rather than a stressful one, because let's face it, who wants to go on holiday if it's going to be stressful? Definitely not me. Overall, more detailed information that is currently being provided was the highest priority for this market. So there's not enough information being provided on your business services and websites, particularly for those with mobility issues. While this is mostly related to digital sources such as websites and site reviews, it could also refer to information anywhere that travellers look, including destinations and overseas tours. Also, more than just having a long document with complex information, we need information that is relevant. Most places already have different measures in place. Let them know by putting it on your website and on your profiles such as TripAdvisor or Expedia. So let people with disability and impairment know the changes you've made. Let them know what you've got for them there, what's accessible. As well as making the information easy to find and absorb, this specifically relates to the accessible tourism information, which is often not prominently displayed and is very often complex. I don't know why it has to be complicated. It's just simple. We've got this, we've got that. Yes, you're welcome, of course. And, you just have to display on your website, on the main menu, a accessibility symbol and have what you have and what you don't have. As we discussed in the previous session, this is a decisive market segment and people with an impairment are more likely to stop a transaction or discourage others from using your business because their needs were not met. Something to think about. Information needs to be well structured rather than a 50-page document with all the information on it, which can be very overwhelming for people, especially people with hidden disabilities and impairments. Look at breaking it down into smaller and logical parts. For example, one part on how to let the business or service know what you need, and then another on where people can access your ramps, toilets and aqua bays. Information needs to be relatable when choosing accommodation, attractions and experiences, including a range of images that cover impairments would help the potential traveller to feel that they are choosing an option that they feel comfortable going to and included in going to. We go over more of this information in webinar part 4 if you are interested in learning more about that. As discussed earlier though, when you can relate to the marketing, you subconsciously feel welcome to go there. Okay, information continued. Specific findings. Let's look at the specific findings from this report that related to information. When asked what the number one priority to drive accessible tourism is, the most mentioned was information provision. If you make it easy to find and you are highly accessible, then you will increase the chances of attracting more customers to your business. 41% wanted information contained on review sites like TripAdvisor that were relevant to travellers with specific needs. There are many resources as to what these are, and you can have a look at these on our website under resources. A subject which has been brought up many times is the idea of introducing an accredited system that shows people in business, shows businesses that have made the commitment and implemented and made the implementation of accessible travel systems. So this would be an amazing step forward. And to just explain that a bit more, businesses can ring up the accredited website and have someone come in and assess their business, and they will be given a 1-star or a 5-star, for example. So 1-star is not accessible, 5 stars is really accessible. So people with disability and impairment can jump on that website, find out the hotel, Airbnb, wherever they want to go, find out on the website what rating they are as far as accessibility and inclusion. And 1-star, not very accessible, okay, we won't be going there. And 5-star, very accessible and inclusive, so we will be going there. So that is going to be amazing when that comes out, and I think New Zealand already has that going, and it's really successful. And the more businesses that are jumping on there, it's just got a snowball effect where more and more are joining up, and it's going to probably become that you're going to have it anyway, which is great. So really cool for people with disability and impairment. How good would it be to just be able to look up, yep, 5-star, let's go there, 1-star, no, let's not go there. Okay, but when asked what the priority for improvements to this market is, 86% of people rated that the addition of more practical information as very important, and this included the locations of aqua bays, toilets, and access ramps. 83% also said the rate. Sorry, I'm just plugging my iPad in. Wait a minute, hang on. 83% rated an increased prominence of this information on tourism and transport websites. So 83% wanted this information to be right on the front menu, or an easy link on the front menu to let them know the answers. Okay, next up we will go over planning. Let's move into the specific needs planning. People with impairment, especially those with mobility issues, have specific needs that, if not met, makes visiting a business or event impossible. With all the effort and cost it takes to plan a trip to go somewhere, lots of research is done beforehand to ensure that these resources are not wasted. 40% of respondents stated that not knowing what to expect was a barrier to travel, highlighting the benefit of more information being available before planning their trip. As you can see, there is much of a need for expert advice at the planning stage if you want to attract this market. Creating relationships and prompting your accessibility on platforms such as disability forums, peak bodies in the area, specialist travel agents, and even the NDIS coordinators are all important in driving that boost. Internally, you can appoint an accessibility coordinator, someone who is knowledgeable in all aspects of an activity or organisation. This person would be responsible for answering all the access queries and there to create strong relationships and bonds with people with disability and impairment. This coordinator will also address the next point in the research. Specifically, the research highlighted a strong preference to connect with a business or destination personally, either by phone or email. So people with disability and impairment want that person-to-person connection because they want to know the answers. They don't want to hear get bits of information, whether your place is accessible or inclusive. They want to know the answers so they feel comfortable coming to visit your business, and fair enough too. So this would provide a potential customer with the information in a rapid and accurate manner, increasing the likelihood of converting it to a sale. That personal connection is so important, especially to someone with a disability or impairment. Travel agents with a strong service ethic could also be important in driving this conversion, particularly those for those older travellers and those who have lower support needs. Many clients had low expectations, so this advice could expand their interest and create demand for new products. Travellers with an impairment find it hard to be inspired when they don't know what is possible, and having an advocate for this would be a huge win for everyone. Now let's go over service. There are still many challenges with regards to attitudes and understandings, from tourism to hospitality, event staff, and those of the public towards travellers with an impairment, which is a shame. This is especially a challenge for younger travellers with impairments and those with hidden impairments who require support in less obvious ways. Top service by All Star is a key driver for recommendations across all travel categories in this study. So people with disability and impairment are wanting the travel agents and wanting everyone to give them that top service, so they do understand, and they're obviously not getting it, because then we wouldn't be talking about this today. And as we all know, good service drives in the customers. I will definitely be going back somewhere if I have been treated equally and fairly and with respect. Okay, next up, cost is very important for many travellers with an impairment, as many need to travel with a carer or extra equipment, which makes the cost higher. A carer is another person to add to the bill, equipment for travelling on an aeroplane, all of that kind of thing. People just can't grasp that they would have to pay all this extra money, but yes, they do have to. And giving some kind of discount or something that's going to help them and bring them into your business or service, why wouldn't you do it? Otherwise, you're missing out on that sale anyway. And plus, it's a win-win situation. You're getting that customer, and that person with a disability or impairment is able to have a holiday because you have accommodated their needs. Assistance with these costs, including potentially via the National Disability Insurance Scheme or via a special deal, and those services for people with a carer, would assist with removing the barriers to travel, and also this would have a ripple effect in regards to the ethical consumerism, as discussed in an earlier session. Growing the market in your region. The major stakeholders, who are they? So we have looked at the opportunities and needs of this segment and what potential we can tap into. How are we going to grow this? What needs to be done and who needs to be involved? The opportunity to grow this market is a multifaceted project in which all stakeholders have a role to play. Who are these stakeholders? First up, we have people with impairment, their families and their carers. These are people who will be served by this project, and having a direct understanding of their needs is critical at every stage. They should be central to every decision made, otherwise it's a waste of time. If you're going to go and presume what they need and what they want, then how do you know you're getting it exactly right? You may as well get it exactly right from the beginning. So they need to be involved. Also, peak bodies need to be involved that represent both tourism and the disability sector. They need to make choices alongside the people with disability to ensure that they know what needs need to be met. Who else? The government on state and local level to help with infrastructure, destination management and organisations such as visitor centres, tourism and event service providers. These are all people that need to get involved to bring this together and to build a better future for every human being. Growing the market in the region and stages. This part is intended as an executive overview of the stages. It is by no means a how-to and must-do. We realise there is much more involved, and that being said, let's go over these. The 5 stages that require are consult, inspire, educate, collate, promote, and lastly build. Let's have a look at these closer and how stakeholders need to get involved. First up is consult. This should be the foundation of accessible tourism. It should ensure that what is offered is built on a rich understanding of what travellers with impairment want and need. This is the responsibility of all stakeholders, but government and destination management officers can take the lead, as they have the resources and skills to undertake projects and research to guide others. Growing the market, stage 2, inspire and educate. Ensure that the industry has an understanding of the potential of the sector and has provided support on how to start targeting it. Government, destinations and peak bodies should all have a role in driving this. Further, many travellers with impairment have low expectations of what is available, while their aspirations to travel are high. The task here is to encourage them to explore and test the boundaries. Peak bodies and service providers can play a strong role here, and so can individual operators. Right here we have a picture on the right of Ben and his family, his wife and his son. He has just finished abseiling down the tallest building in Perth in a wheelchair. So he was talking about it. One of his friends was going to do it, and I think the friend was freaking out about it, and Ben, sitting there in his wheelchair, said, "Oh, if I had the opportunity, I would literally do it. I would do it." Someone overheard the conversation and thought, "Hey, I'm going to make this work." So everyone came together, all the peak bodies, all the people around came together, and look, he was able to do it. So that's a prime example that if people come together, all these peak bodies, things can be done. Why not? Okay. Next is collate. This is about bringing the experiences together to provide a holistic offering in some key destinations. Will help the traveller plan and navigate their trip. Government and peak bodies in both tourism and disability sectors and service providers can potentially play a role to help identify new areas of experience and product development or supporting infrastructure. Governments can work with the sector in a number of ways, including improving the accessibility standards in the industry and developing infrastructure that considers the complete user's experience. Stage 4, promote. Promote. 2 more stages. Many travellers are not aware of what's on offer. Therefore, it's important to promote what is available to generate that demand. It is important to promote what is available. The information needs to be easy to find, well structured, and provide the opportunity to develop more planning and to build confidence in the experience of the trip. This responsibility is for the individual businesses and destinations to promote. Lastly, build, stage 5. While not the highest priority for now, new infrastructure needs to be a subject of ongoing focus, ensuring that new infrastructure employs universal design principles, which will make this opportunity more cost-effective in the future. This is a cross-industry responsibility, so it's important for businesses and companies to follow these standards, and it's also the responsibility of the people with an impairment to create this demand. So be honest, be open, let people know what you need. Tell a cafe, tell a business owner, say, "Hey, I love everything about your business, but I found it really hard getting in your door." Just let them know. We had a new building built in the area, and only a year ago it was built, and the building project managers or whatever go over and check it all, but of course there's no one checking the exact accessibility for people, what they actually need. It's just put this here, put this there, sign this off. So this business needed to, the people that owned the business needed to put in a step as soon as it was built. They moved into their business and, oh, hang on, the door to get in the door is way away from the ground. There's a big step there, so we're going to have to put in a step. People with disability and impairment couldn't even get in the door of a brand new cafe. Now, to me, that is just, how does that even happen? But anyway, there's no one going over the accessibility in the building industry. They need to have an accessibility officer, and that's another story. But definitely, if you're building a business or service from scratch, you need to get it right from the beginning, because you don't want to have it all built and then realize, hey, we're not accessible. That door frame isn't actually wide enough. Someone with a mobility issue can't actually open that door. So lots of things to look at, and we do have the accessibility checklist that you can go over to make these changes, or before you're about to build a new building, see what you need to do as far as accessibility is. Okay, so that is it for tonight. I hope you all enjoyed tonight's webinar and understood it all. Right now I'm going to be doing an open forum question time, so if you have any questions for me, you can jump onto the link below the video and ask anything you like. If you do have to go have dinner, go put the kids to bed, you're welcome to go, but please, before you go, fill out that survey. So follow the link below my video, go into live, and then look for the survey, tapping in part 6 or survey 6, and fill out the 5 questions, because the more feedback we can get, the better. Okay, I'm going to press open forum time, and anyone that has questions can send any questions in. Thanks for joining me tonight. If you have to go, thank you. See you soon. So welcome back, guys. No questions tonight, which is fine. I hope you all enjoyed the webinar. Please join me tomorrow for tapping in part 1. We're starting back at the beginning. And tomorrow we will be going over the myths and realities of why to employ someone with an impairment or disability. So if you know anyone that may be interested in these webinars, please send them my way. We are starting at 11 o'clock and 6 p.m. Have a good night, everyone. Take care and stay warm, and I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining me. Bye.